Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hallmark Movie Drafts, where our three guest panelists are all Hallmark movie enthusiasts and Deck the Hallmark podcast double-deckers who love to rate, rank, and debate all things Hallmark movies related. Forget February. In the Hallmark movie world, it is Loveuary, and we are going to celebrate with our first ever Hallstar Mash-up Draft. Now, a mashup is when a favorite Hallstar doesn't have enough movies yet in their portfolio for a draft on their own. So we've combined them with one or two other Hallstars, and the panelists will create a top 10 list from their collective movies. This month, it's a three-way mash of the 16 collective movies starring Travis Van Winkle, Brant Daughtery, and Marc Blucas. There are 6 of Brant's, 6 of Marc's, and 4 of Travis's. And so the panelist is going to whittle those 16 down to the best 10. I'm Lynn, your host, and with me is Erinbeth, my co-host. And joining us today as guest co-host, and maybe even HMD's future legal counsel, just in case we need it, is Whitney. Whitney, welcome to Hallmark Movie Drafts. How are you doing today? Are you ready to do this with Erinbeth and the trivia round?
Thank you so much, Lynn. Yes, thank you for having me. I am so excited. I'm excited to be here. Love the podcast, and I'm excited to be a co-host today for the first mashup.
Do you have a favorite of those 3 Hallstars?
That's such a good question. I think I thought I did, but I don't think it aligned with my movie picks, if that makes sense. I think I probably thought Brant was my favorite. I'm not positive that aligns. I think I might like them all equally.
Wow, that's great. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts on all of these. I will be delighted if you yell out, "I object," when someone wants to play a movie that you particularly don't like, but we'll see what happens. So thanks for joining us today.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Okay, so Erinbeth, you and I and one of the panelists in this match will actually be jumping right into another recording session when this draft ends, because we've got finally, the final round of the 2023 HMD Tournament of Champions, where either Mary, Dan, or Meredith will be crowned the 2023 champ.
I am excited for it. And I really love the twist that the 2023 and 2024 players and guest hosts are invited to sit in on the recording and act as the HMD jury to vote for the player who creates the best list from the top 10 movie categories that they were all given not very long ago.
Yeah, so that's like the whole jury twist for deciding the winner is my relentless passionate love of Survivor. So I'm excited to see how that goes. But for today, we first have to get through today's match, which I'm also super excited about. And I noticed that you have made some drinks for everybody to enjoy when they're playing or listening.
There are 3 of them, one honoring a movie for each of the Hallstars. There's a citrus getaway with a vodka-based cocktail, My Timeless Love. See what I did there? With a rum Mai Tai. And there's a non-alcoholic bevy that I'm calling the Irresistible Blueberry Mojito. It's a fojito. The recipes are posted on the Hallmark Movie Drafts Instagram.
Awesome. So I'm not drinking today because we do have that second recording, and I'll be dead by 8 p.m. if I drink. But I'll definitely have one before the show drops. So let's transition to the panelists. First up is someone who might just be named the 2023 champion for HMD. If she can beat Mary and Dan, it's our buddy Meredith. Hey, Meredith, how are you doing today? Are you going to stay hydrated?
I am staying hydrated. Got my Pedialyte mixed into my water, which is very important. Yes, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, good luck today. I know that you made a comment in the Taylor Cole draft that you did where you compared Michael Rady to a yummy cinnamon bun. So when you have 3 Hallstars like Travis, Brant, and Marc Blucas, do you think there's a cinnamon bun among them?
I feel like of the 3, Travis's jawline is too sharp to be a cinnamon bun. I think it's got to be Marc. He gives you the warm fuzzies.
Maybe Travis is a cruller. Would he be more like cruller?
He's a bear claw.
Croissant, perhaps? I don't know. I'm suddenly hungry. gosh, which well, good luck today. You're coming into the match with a leftover veto override, so you'll get that in addition to whatever vetoes come with the drafting position that you get. And speaking of being hungry, next up is Jen, DoorDash Jen, Swiss Miss Jen, my buddy down in Massachusetts, sometimes Rhode Island. I don't know where the hell she is half the time. But Jen, you made it into the semifinals for the championship round as well. And I actually posted an audio clip in the Instagram of you we were talking about Always Amore. Are you just excited to be here because it's finally not a movie that's eligible for this for a draft that you're in?
Yes. I didn't have to pretend to watch it again. I didn't have to watch it again. I'm all done. All done. Are you gonna take that clip too and make Tyler like it?
I think so. Yeah, so listeners, if you haven't checked out the Instagram post on that, the legit Tyler Hines liked that clip, and it just made it even better. So Jen, you're always a powerhouse. You're coming into this draft with 2 leftover veto overrides. So nobody's playing with leftover vetoes, but there's going to be a massive amount of overrides where people can do a lot of damage with them. So good luck to you, and thanks for playing. Okay. And last but certainly not least is someone who is making their first appearance on the podcast. I can't wait to see what she does. She is well versed in the Hallmark world. She's met Hallstars at various events, and she is not shy about sharing her thoughts on movies. She just might run away with the whole match. So don't count her out. It's the one and only Lisa. Lisa, welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm excited to be here. Nervous, but excited.
Well, I was just going to say, are you at all nervous about going up against 2 experienced players?
Well, I mean, I've listened to every podcast, so I know what they can do. So yeah, and I'm not super competitive, so I'm just going to do my best not to get run over or vetoed or thrown out.
Okay, there will be no throwing out. There's no fighting chances here. The Webster's
Yeah.
not. So you'll be. There's no betting, no bodily harm. That's our basic credo. But
Good.
I saw that in the photo that you sent me, you've actually met Marc Blucas. So
Yes.
what's he
yes.
like?
Oh, he's so nice. So nice. You know, I came into this with one person in particular that I thought was my favorite. And then when we added Marc, it just threw it out the window, because he's just like Meredith said, he just gives you like the warm fuzzies, and he's just like that in person too. One of his movies he filmed here in Connecticut, and he talked to me about Connecticut and how much he liked it. And I know he lives on a farm in Pennsylvania, and yeah, he's about 10 minutes away from Holly Fight, I believe. And
stalker alert.
yeah. If it were me, yes. He's lucky it's her and not me. And yeah, he was just very, very nice.
That's
So,
great to hear. That's great to hear. Okay, so good luck, everybody. Let's start shifting into gameplay mode. If this is your first time listening, you can pause here and listen to the Hallmark Movie Drafts intro show first. That's where I go over the rules in more depth and how vetoes work, or you can keep listening and you'll probably pick it up quickly. Let's talk about eligibility. So the movies had to air on Hallmark or a Hallmark Movie and Mysteries channel, and they must feature either Travis, Brant, or Marc in a leading role, no cameos. That's a total of 16 movies as of this recording, and you can see the full list of titles on our Instagram and in our letterbox. The links to the HMD socials are in the show notes. Let's talk drafting positions for this match. There are 3 of them. Drafter C picks positions 10, 7, and 3, and Drafter C gets 1 veto card and 1 veto override card. Drafter B picks positions 9, 6, 4, and 2, and Drafter B gets only 1 veto card because they get more picks than anyone else, so more chances to get their favorite movies onto the list. And Drafter A picks positions 8, 5, and the number 1 position on the list, they get a veto card and a bonus veto card. So it's basically getting 2 vetoes with that position. Keep in mind that Jen has 2 veto overrides and Meredith has 1 veto override left over from their previous matches, as I said. So they'll get to use those in addition to whatever vetoes come with the drafting positions that they end up with. So how do we decide who gets to be drafter A, B, or C? That's where my buddies Whitney and Erinbeth come in with the trivia round. So before they do that, they're going to go over the new trivia round process that we're using for 2024. The first person to answer one question correctly gets to choose whether they want to be drafter A, B, or C. The second person gets the next question correctly, chooses theirs from the remaining 2 positions, and so on. Just remember, if you win the trivia round, you are first up in the veto order for every pick. So that means you have to declare, you're the first to declare whether or not you're going to let a movie pick slide or if you're going to veto it. So it's a double-edged sword if you win the veto round. But good luck to everybody. Erinbeth and Whitney, let's do it.
As Lynn said, there are some new rules. We've changed some things for 2024, so listen closely. Number 1, you can't answer until Whitney or I have finished asking a question. 2, as soon as Whitney or I finish asking the question, raise your virtual hand. The first virtual hand raised will be called on to answer the question. Do not raise your virtual hand until we've finished asking the question, and do not answer until your name has been called. Number 3, when your name is called, you must answer immediately. Any pause of more than 2 seconds will be considered a wrong answer, and the question will go to the remaining drafters. Number 4, after you answer, you will be told if you are right or wrong. If you're wrong, you can't guess again until the other 2 drafters have made a guess or stated they don't know the answer. And number 5, there will no longer be any clues given for stumped panels. When all panelists are stumped and no one knows the answer, a new question will be given. And everyone will once again be able to raise their virtual hands to answer once their name is called on. Are there any questions? All right, well, as always, you guys don't have questions, but we do. So I'm going to toss it on over to Whitney for the first question.
Okay. In Operation Christmas, which stars Marc Blucas and Tricia Helfer? Might have said that wrong. I apologize. What does Mark's character give Tricia's character for Christmas? Lisa.
I think it was a snow globe.
That is
That is-
incorrect. Meredith or Jen? Anyone want to guess? Okay. Seeing no answers, I just moved to the next question, Erinbeth.
Yep, I'll go ahead and ask the next question. In Mingle All the Way, which stars Brant Daughtery and Jen Lilly, when their characters first meet, what item do they both want to buy? Lisa, you were definitely first on that one.
It was the angel topper for the top of the
That
tree.
is correct. So you get a little break from trivia while you decide what
Wow.
position you want to be in for drafting.
What did I tell you guys? Do not count Lisa out just because she hasn't played before.
All right, well, I'll toss it back to Whitney for that next question.
Okay. In Christmas Getaway, which stars Travis Van Winkle and Bridget Reagan, what nut was Bridget's character disappointed that wasn't in her dessert? Jen.
It was an almond.
That is correct.
And you will pick second. And as always, Meredith, the last person gets to pick whatever is left over.
I get what I get.
So Lisa, congratulations. Would you like me to read what each position gets, or do you already know them? Want me to do it
Yes,
again?
please. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. So drafter C gets positions 10, 7, and 3, basically towards the bottom of the list. And you get a veto and a veto over. Drafter B gets the most picks. It gets 9, 6, 4, and 2, but only 1 veto. And drafter A gets positions 8, 5, and the number 1 position, and you get basically 2 vetoes. What do you think?
I'm going to do A.
Hey, awesome. All right, Lisa has chosen drafter A. She'll get 8, 5, and the number 1 position. She'll get basically two vetoes. Jen, would you like drafter B or drafter C?
I'm trying to decide because I feel like I've been C for the last 2 times.
Which is
I'm
why
just
you
like-
have so many veto overrides coming into the game.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So it's almost like I don't know if I want another. Like, but also it was kind of my lucky spot. You know,
You can sell
like,
them on eBay. Can you sell them on eBay? Are they worth
like I don't
know.
know. I don't know. I think I'm gonna do B this time.
Go for it, Jen. Jen has chosen drafter B, so she gets 9, 6, 4, and 2. She gets more picks than anybody else, and she gets 1 veto. So she will have a veto and 2 veto overrides. And that leaves Meredith as drafter C. So Meredith will get picks 10, 7, and 3. She'll have 1 veto and 1 veto override that comes with that drafting position, plus the veto override that she is bringing into the match from her previous game. So there we have it. We have a lot going on. Okay. So just one more thing before we get started. You guys will DM me your pick using the Zoom chat. You'll send it to me, not to everyone. I'll announce the title to the group, who the stars are, a little logline description that Stephanie put together using IMDb or Hallmark as a base. You'll then state your case as to why you like the movie, why you chose it, why you feel like it belongs in that position, whatever it is that you want to say. And then if your pick doesn't get vetoed, we move on to the next player. If it does get vetoed, you just have to rinse and repeat. Send me a new pick in the chat. All right. And then just so you know, Whitney and Erinbeth and I have a side hustle going on. So the 3 of us have exchanged our personal top 10 lists for this match. And we're just trying to see how many of our titles make it onto whatever list you guys come up with. And we just get bragging rights and all the glory that comes along with it. That's about it. But it's something for us to boast about. So let's get started. Everybody buckle up. Lisa, you are, Meredith, you are first up with your pick for number 10. Just DM me when you're ready and we'll get started.
I was gonna be like, nope, not Lisa.
You know what it is as Meredith is sending it over, is that I kind of default to the veto order if you look at the game sheet. So, I see Lisa's name first and I'm just going there, and then I kind of moved my eyeballs up and said, oh, nope, I am not going to have Jen correct me this time. Okay, I have Meredith's pick for number 10. She has chosen a movie from 2016. It stars Allison Sweeney as Ellen, Marc Blucas as Roy. It's The Irresistible Blueberry Farm. Ellen receives a letter that her deceased grandmother requests she hand delivers to a man in her grandmother's childhood home in Maine. And she begins a journey of discovery of her grandmother, herself, and quality of life. Meredith, why do you like this movie for number 10?
Yeah, I'm constantly second guessing myself about this movie because I feel like it's definitely above the ones that got cut from my list altogether because it's different. Hallmark movies that are different from the mold generally stand out to me. On the one hand, it had a more interesting plot than many of the older Hallmark films, but also the reason it's not higher up on my list is that sometimes the plot was just confusing and I found myself halfway through the movie going like, I don't really actually know what the conflict is. But Allison Sweeney's singing karaoke, Marc Blucas and her are making out in a lake. And that's not bad. So I think it should be on the list. But for the confusion of it all and some of the weirdness of it all, I don't think it needs a very high spot on this list.
I'm really trying not to laugh so hard because you're exactly right. If you notice the description that I gave that Stephanie worked on, when I was reading through the whole descriptions for the movie, it was all over the place. And when I watched it, I was like, I'm really not, I think I like this. I'm just not sure. So we'll see what Lisa thinks. Lisa, do you like this movie? Do you like it at number 10? What do you think?
I have it higher on the list. I enjoy this movie. The swimmer, everywhere she goes, they call her Swimmer. Kevin Smith in it is a little bit different than what he normally plays. I admit I watch this movie multiple times a year. And so it is higher on my list, but not so much higher that I would veto it where it is. It at least is on the list. So
You're gonna let
I'm
it
not
slide?
gonna veto. I'll let it slide. Yeah.
Okay. You do have 2 vetoes. You sure?
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
No, I have definite movies that I will veto if they show up. So I will hold on to them for those.
I think I need to watch this again based on what you just said that you watch it multiple times because I tend to like a lot of the same movies that you like. So
Yeah, I
think
like the
there's
two of
another
them
look.
together. I think they're very good together. And unlike Dan, who I know he says he does not care for her, I end up liking most of the movies that she's in. So
The Allison Sweeney.
except the
Okay.
Veils, not the Veils, but anything other than the Veils, I end up liking.
I didn't know that Dan didn't particularly care for Allison Sweeney, so I guess I won't be asking him to do the Allison Sweeney draft.
Yeah, no, you should ask him. That would be perfect.
Why not? He did the Royals draft. You can suck it up for Allison. Jen, what do you think of the Irresistible Blueberry Farm at number 10?
I agree with a lot of what Lisa said. I have it higher up on my list as well. I really like their chemistry. So much so that it causes me to ignore the fact that she's very clearly cheating on her fiance in it, who is a charming Kevin Smith. Like, like, even though it's problematic at best that they're definitely, emotionally cheating, if not more, I just really like them together. And I think it's a fun little, like, moving. Yes, is the plot mildly confusing? Absolutely. But I have seen it more than once. I enjoyed the creepy, we did research once, remember, at Lisa in the group trying to figure out what that wall was with the heads, I forget what scene it is. I'm gonna have to post it because I know I definitely have a screenshot, but there's this one scene in the movie where there's this like window or something of like heads, and we were literally one day, years ago, trying to figure out what this wall was or window because it was bonkers.
You definitely definitely
I'm gonna have to look for the picture. But anyway, I think I'm with you, Lisa. I think it's not enough for me to veto it. I'm just happy it's on the list. I personally have it higher because I like it. So
all right. So Meredith, way to go! Right out of the gate, you've locked in your first choice for number 10, the Irresistible Blueberry Farm. So next up, Jen, you can DM me your pick for number 9. And while she's doing that, Whitney, what did you think of the Blueberry Farm movie? Did you like it?
I did like it. It almost made my list. I debated whether between this and a different movie for number 10, but it could definitely be on my list. And it was a little zany. I'm glad someone else mentioned the head thing because I thought I was seeing things. And I'm glad I wasn't. That's really encouraging. But I really do like Allison Sweeney. My mom watched Days of Our Lives from the very beginning. I used to watch it when I was sick at my grandmother's house, and so big Allison Sweeney fan.
Yeah, she's great. Oh my gosh, Days of Our Lives. Don't get me started. Erinbeth, what about you? Jen is really thinking hard about her number 9. She's waiting for a DoorDash to come through, right?
I'm debating between 2 movies right now. Give me a sec.
It's fine. We have all day. We have at least until 8 p.m. Eastern.
There is one thing that Marc does very well, and it is that dreamy-eyed look that he does it in every movie, makes me swoon every time, and he does it really well in this movie. I like it. It made my list. It's a good movie. I mean, I agree with, I'm more on Meredith's side where it's confusing. I think 10 is the perfect spot for it, but but I've watched it several times and
Yeah.
I think it's
Could
great.
that man have chemistry with a cardboard cutout, or is it just me?
I
Like, that's
think
what I
he
was thinking when I was
definitely
watching
could,
them,
yeah.
because I watched them in a row, like all his movies, and then like I chunked them that way, and I was like, he could definitely have chemistry with like anything.
Did you guys watch them all together? Like, did you watch all the Brant ones, all the
That's what
DVD?
I did, yeah. And I think
Yeah.
Meredith, you
Yep.
said you did the same, right?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
did the same too.
I couldn't figure out how to approach it because it's different than the ones I've done before where they've been all one actor. So I said, well, I think I'm gonna chunk it. But then that almost made it harder because then I'm like, when I went to like merge, like I had them ranked within each category,
Yeah,
like each
that's the
actor.
same
And then when
thing
I went
I
to go
did.
merge them, it was very hard. Like I did it like 20 minutes before this recording.
Wow.
Sent it to Lynn like 10 minutes before.
Exactly. All right. Well, Jen has sent me her pick for number 9. She's chosen a movie from 2018. Jen Lilly is Molly. Brant Daughtery is Jeff. It's Mingle all the way. So Molly starts an app for busy professionals to find a +1 without needing to navigate the romance of dating sites. An investor wants Molly to test the app, which forces her to join, and Molly matches with Jeff, and they're both horrified to find out that they have met twice in disastrous encounters. Could their business arrangement turn into something more? Lindsay Wagner plays the mom. Casey Manderson plays Molly's business associate. He has been in dozens of Hallmark movies in supporting roles, I think, beginning in 2015. I looked up his IMDb. So I am just going to have to do it. I'm going to have a HMD 2026 Casey Manderson draft because the movies that he has been either the Baxter in or the sidekick in are fabulous. So mark your calendars 2 years from now. Jen, why do you like Mingle All the Way at number 10?
So this
9,
was one
sorry.
of those. What?
9.
Sorry.
9. It's 9. It's not 10.
Oh, it is 9. Yeah, I didn't even. It didn't even faze me because I've had 10 the last 2 times. This is one of those ones I have watched more than once and I thought would have been higher on my list, but when I started to like kind of merge them all together, I was like, there are others I like a lot more. So like it was one of those ones like I knew I wanted it on the list. It's actually number 10 on my list. But it was like kind of a not nearly as high as I thought it was going to be originally. I don't know why. I enjoyed their chemistry. I love the whole fake dating like kind of trope. Yeah, I mean that's I like them together. I think it's a fun. The parents are awful in this movie. His boss and that coworker are awful. Like all the supporting characters are awful in this movie. Like the fact that he thinks he needs to have a girlfriend to get a job, like it's very problematic. That Lindsay Wagner is, oh, don't even get me started. But yet I
Worst
still like
mom
it.
ever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, way to go. All right. So Lisa, what do you think of Mingle All the Way at number 9?
I'm pretty much the same as Jen. It was my number 3 Brant movie because I did the same thing. I looked at each one of the guys and ranked each one of the movies for them and then combined them all together. So I have watched this multiple times. I like it. I pretty much, I have watched it many times, like I said, and it's actually number 10 on my list. So I'm fine with it being 9.
Okay, Lisa's good with it at number 9. What about you, Meredith? Are you good with it at number 9?
Yeah, it's my number 9 as well. I feel like it's worth being on the list, but there are better movies from these 3 guys, so I think it's at a good spot.
Wow. Okay. So Mingle All the Way is locked in at number 9. Lisa is going to send me her first pick ever in the history of HMD for number 8. And while she's doing that, Whitney, do you like Winkle all the way? Did it
I
make
do
your list?
like Mingle all the way. It did make my list. It was a little bit higher, but I think if you would have asked me when it actually aired, I think it was one of the better ones of that season. So I was surprised on how low it was at my list. I've watched it several times. Love Jen Lilly, another Days of Our Lives alum. But yeah, good movie. I think it belongs on the list. I think I was surprised that it was lower for me than I would have thought.
Wow, way to go. Guys, Lisa is lightning fast. I already have her pick. There was zero hesitation. I watched her fingers just fly to the keyboard.
She's no DoorDash.
She's no DoorDash.
I get that. I got that for a reason, that nickname.
If I think about it for too long, I will change my
You're gonna
mind.
change your mind?
So I'm going with it.
So Lisa has chosen for number 8, a movie from 2020, actually. It's Allison Sweeney plays Melissa. Marc Blucas is Brian. It's A Good Morning Christmas! Exclamation point. 2 squabbling TV hosts are sent to a festival, small town, over Christmas. A festive small town over Christmas. Mel is always prepared and Brian likes to wing it on camera. And while pretending to get along for the sake of appearances, they discover there is more to each other than they originally thought. Lisa, tell us about this movie and why you like it for number 8.
Well, again, I like their chemistry together. They both have been doing this a long time and they know what they're doing. And all she has to do is get like a couple of tears in her eyes and I'm crying. Like it doesn't even have to drop from her eye and she has me in tears. It would have probably been higher if his hair wasn't so bad in this movie. It's the worst hair he's ever had in a movie. It's just terrible. So, but I like how his character turned around. He softened up. They realized how much they cared about each other. And the scene with the horse and buggy, I keep waiting. I keep looking out my window for someone to show up in a horse and buggy, and it just has not happened yet. So I have to get it through Hallmark movies.
Do you live in an area where horse and buggy carriages are permitted?
That's a good question. I don't know. Our little downtown area has a gazebo. Like it would be perfect for it to happen, but I don't know if it's allowed.
All right, we'll get Erinbeth on that with her vision
do the
boarding.
research, please.
Yeah, she's going to do her vision board magic, which has never worked for me, just saying. But
She must
might
be
work
doing
for you, Lisa. They've been pretty, but ineffective. Jen, you are first up in the veto order because of Lisa's picking this. What do you think of Good Morning Christmas?
It's funny because that's the one I was debating between this and Mingle when I was going back and forth, because that's how I have them like in order. Mingle was 10, this was 9. And so I was like, that's where I was going back and forth between, do I want to do 2 back-to-back, like same actors, or do I want to mix it up? I don't like their chemistry in this one as much as I liked it in Blueberry Farm. So I enjoy it. I love the whole, like, they're kind of enemies in the beginning and they slowly kind of like come together. I tend to like movies, I think, that are more like where they actually know each other, or take the time. But I found their chemistry in Blueberry Farm to be more than in this one. And I remember watching it when it first aired being like slightly disappointed that like it wasn't as good as the other one, but I like it. I'm happy where it is. It was number 9 on my list, so I'm good with it at 8.
That's really interesting because in Blueberry Farm, that was 2016, and this one was 4 years later. So interesting about the whole chemistry dynamics and stuff. Meredith, Good Morning Christmas! Exclamation point. What say you for number 8?
Well, I agree about the hair situation. It could be better. It's higher on my list because I found the plot, interesting, and I do like that those two leads together. But it's not worth a fight for me. So I don't think I would do anything about it. I think I'd be okay with it where it is. But yeah, Marc could have really used better hair in this movie. It was unfortunate. It's
Mark's
okay.
hair in this one, Tyler's hair and Always Amore. There's, there's some hair situations going on sometimes. It's a choice. It's a choice. All right. So we have so far The Irresistible Blueberry Farm at number 10, Mingle All the Way at 9. We've just locked in Good Morning Christmas at 8. So that brings us to number 7 with Meredith sending me over her pick. Erinbeth, what did you think of Good Morning Christmas? Did you like it?
Good Morning Christmas is one of my favorites, and I actually disagree about the chemistry. I think that they have pretty good chemistry, and I mean, if it isn't already obvious, Marc Blucas is one of my faves. Those eyes. Back to the Buffy days, when he was on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But it is a really good movie, and I agree with the carriage scene. Like, that could have been a terrible movie. It could have been an absolute just dumpster fire. But that the horses and the carriage could have just saved it all.
I did want to clarify. I didn't say they had no chemistry. I just thought it was less than the other one.
Less chemistry.
Like I'm not saying that they had no chemistry in this at all. I'm just saying I found the Blueberry Farm they had more. So
Maybe I should rewatch them both. I'll just rewatch them both.
Yeah,
see.
Why not?
Spend an afternoon with Marc and Allison.
Whitney, what did you think of Good Morning Christmas?
Yeah, I really like Good Morning Christmas. It was my number 9, but I think the bottom are kind of interchangeable, but great chemistry. I actually thought they did have great chemistry. I like the little, frenemies in the beginning. So yeah, I like this one.
You guys, in the Instagram post that I did, the show prep post that I did just about an hour or so ago, I said, is this panel going to play with love or choose chaos? And you're playing with love, and I love that. We'll just see how long that lasts, because when we get to number 4, there may not be any hearts, but you never know. There's always a chance that you can play with love all the way through. I just haven't seen it done. So good old blue eyes Blucas, Meredith says. Exactly. All right, I have Meredith's pick for number 7. It is a movie from 2017. It stars Brooke Dorsey as Holly. Marc Blucas is Sam. It's Miss Christmas. Nicknamed Miss Christmas, Holly, the official tree finder for Chicago's renowned Radcliffe Tree Lighting, is left desperate to find the perfect tree. A letter from a young boy promising his tree is perfect sends her to a small town where she learns the young boy's dad, Sam, isn't willing to part with his tree. While sparks fly, she'll be forced to confront what she's really been missing for Christmas. Note, whenever photos of the McNary family grandmother are shown in this, it's actually actress Barbara Niven, who plays, a mom in so many of these movies. I thought that was really, really cool. But she has no part in this movie, but her photos there as grandma. So Meredith, tell us why you love Miss Christmas. I love Brooke Dorsey, full disclosure. I would watch her in anything.
Yeah, she's a big reason why I have this movie where I have it. I feel similar to Whitney, where like my bottom 5 of this list, they could sort of move around, or I don't feel as strongly about them as the top 5. But this movie is really nice because even though it technically has a pretty old Hallmark plot, Brooke Dorsey elevates any movie she's in my opinion. She's always very charming, and combined with Marc Blucas, I think that's a great combo. Also, there's a great moment where, there's 2 great moments for different reasons. There's one where he's talking about, I think he's talking about his mom passing away, and he actually like cries. He has tears in his eyes, and it's just it's way more performance than I expect in a Hallmark movie, and it's very nice. And then on a totally different category, when they have the big misunderstanding and he hears her on the phone and thinks that she's saying, this place is not for me, I'm going back to Chicago. When he tells her that that's what he heard, she actually corrects him like pretty immediately. And that usually doesn't happen. She actually says, no, you misunderstood. And, the misunderstanding tends to be the most frustrating part of these Hallmark movies where it's really dumb. And so to have her just set him straight right away is just very satisfying. So yeah, because of Brooke and Mark, of course, this movie I think is at a good spot at number 7 for me. And yeah, even though it's still got sort of the basic Hallmark plot, it's still interesting. Like, okay, finding the tree for Chicago and the way they sort of compromise at the end, I think is nice. And the son is very adorable. He has a very cute face. So that gives the movie some extra points.
It's a great cast, and this is actually the very first movie I ever saw with Marc Blucas in it. So when I was putting together this draft, I really, I think maybe Lisa or Jen might have mentioned this as well. There was one particular Hallstar that I thought for sure all of their movies was going to make this list, and I was really surprised to see how even though, I have no stake in this game, I was really surprised to see which movies made my top 10 list and which ones didn't. And Marc Blucas makes a lot of appearances. So I'm really interested to see how everyone's personal lists turned out once we finalize this one and we go around and share what we had on our own. So Lisa, you are once again up in the veto order. Miss Christmas. Yes, no, maybe.
I hate to do it, but this movie is so much higher on my list that I have to veto it at 7.
Okay.
It is. I watched it again this afternoon. I love this movie. And it's the same thing. I love Brooke. I loved her since she was in Royal Pains. And she's another one that all she has to do is look a little sad and I start crying. And I love it.
Lisa has just thrown down a veto against Miss Christmas, declaring that she wants it higher up on the list. So unless anyone wants to override Lisa's veto, we'll stop conversation about it because we're going to talk about it again. So since Meredith played it, Jen, that's you. Do you want to veto override it? No?
No.
No? Okay, great. So we will move on. So Meredith, send me another choice for number 7, please. Since we've vetoed that one. Okay, I've got Meredith's second choice here. It's a movie from 2023. It stars Brant Daughtery as Mark, JC Elliott is Leah. It's Joyeux Noel. So when a romantic painting of a Christmas market captures the imagination of a copy editor, Leah, she is sent to France with pragmatic reporter Mark to uncover the mystery behind the artist. Will their different working styles find a way to work together? I don't know, c'est la vie. This was written by Brant and his wife, Kimberly. Meredith, tell us about this movie and why you like it for your second choice at number 7.
Yeah, I actually am happy with that veto because I think this movie should be lower on my list than I had it. So this is an interesting one. Again, there are certain things that can elevate an otherwise blah movie. For me, a mystery element does that, and also the beautiful scenery, because otherwise it's a very mellow film. It's very relaxed and very chill. And some of that comes from the two leads. I don't know how much I saw a lot of chemistry between JC and Brant. That wasn't big for me. But again, I like things with a mystery element. It was one of the first movies of the year this past year where I thought I would watch this again purely for like the coziness of it. And so that usually means something to me. And also the little girl in the movie was very cute. So for those reasons, I think it probably actually makes a better number 7 than where it initially was on my list. Interesting plot. So yeah, there's my defense.
Good defense. Take me to Paris anytime if you're filming on location and your movie will make my list. But as a former hotel general manager, the loosey-goosey girl just walking into a room with like no notice, just so inappropriate. But Brant in Paris, why not? Lisa, Brant in Paris, what do you think?
Oh, this is so tough. I absolutely despise this movie. Like, I remember I hated it when it came out. I couldn't tell you anything about this movie. And I had basically, when I saw it on the list, I said, no, I refuse to watch that movie again. But then I thought, you know what? I should be fair, because if someone puts it on the list, I should have a reason why I don't like it, and not just the fact that I can't remember anything about it. Even Hallmark Movies now refuses to have it on their list. Like, I could not find it to watch it. I don't
Well, now
don't
that
know why.
I fully understand how vetoes work in this game.
I know I have a second one, but if I use that, then I don't have anything as we get higher.
Mm.
I'm gonna let it go. But I really don't. I don't like.
Lisa doesn't like it, but she is not willing to use her last veto on this. Jen, are you going to do what Lisa cannot bring herself to do? What do you think of Joyeux Noel?
I might do what Lisa couldn't bring herself to do, because I also refuse to watch it for a second time. It's the last movie on my list. I hated it. I was so disappointed in it because I actually really liked JC Elliott in the one she did, the fashion one. I thought she had great chemistry with Ben, whatever the heck his name is. I thought they had zero chemistry in this movie. The child annoyed me. Like, I just was like, no, like, no. So I did have it recorded on Friendly, like I had saved it, and then I just did it. I just chose not to rewatch it because I already knew it wasn't gonna make my list. So,
Do I hear a veto?
So here's the problem.
What's the problem?
I'm gonna throw this out here since it's odds are I only have one veto anyway, and I'm probably gonna end up using it. I also don't have Miss Christmas on my list because I don't like it. But I
which
like
do you
this
like
one less. So I just, like, since I don't know, I can speak more because it's probably gonna come up again, but like I only have the one veto and now I have to decide which one I like least, and it's probably this one. So yeah, I think I'm gonna veto it.
You're gonna veto it?
Yeah.
Okay. Jen has used her one and only veto. It's leaving her with 2 veto overrides. This, I don't think this has ever happened to Meredith before. Meredith has 2 strikes here, 2 vetoes back to back. She will send me another choice for number 7. It's interesting, while she's doing that, it's interesting. I know that I read somewhere online that when Brant and his wife were looking at possible co-stars for him, that they really loved the chemistry between he and JC. And that was one of the reasons why she was chosen. They felt that it was like really easy or something. So, but I agree. It, you know, aside from Paris, it didn't do a whole lot. It didn't do a whole lot for me. All right, I have Meredith's 3rd try for lucky number 7. She has chosen a movie from 2020. It stars Amanda Shaw as Lucy, Travis Van Winkle as Lucas. It's Project Christmas Wish. For years, Lucy has played Santa in her small town community as she grants a little girl's wish for a Christmas like it used to be. She unexpectedly finds her own wishes coming true. So Travis and Amanda have some good chemistry in this. The script is good. Avery Peters plays Max, the little girl. She also played Vic Webster's daughter, Bella, in Christmas Cookie Catastrophe in 2022. And she was in A Lifelong Love in 2023, which starred Andrea Brooks and Patch May. So I think this was her very first appearance in a Hallmark movie as the little girl. So tell us about Project Christmas Wish, Meredith. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, So here's the problem. Lisa might hate me.
Here's the problem. It's a great selling, not a great way to start selling.
Um, so I can't pick any of the ones that are further up on my list because I care about them being there. And then I don't want to pick any of the ones that didn't make my list because they're not good enough. So I went with one that I had at number 8 that I don't feel that strongly about. But call me Panda because I was listening to Jen and Lisa talk about Joyeux Noel, and I was like, yeah, they're right. It is a bad movie. I don't stand by it, you know? So Project Christmas Wish, I liked Amanda as the lead. She was very sweet and very charming and beautiful. And you know, again, it was a pretty basic plot, but I think because this is number 7, it's not too high up. It's a fine spot for this movie. It was sweet. Like there was a little bit of a side plot with the best friend and the engagement. Like that was cute. Nothing high stakes. And you know, I think this was the first Travis one that I watched like in getting ready for this draft. And I had preconceived notions that like, oh, he's kind of the same in every movie. And I only remembered him from one other. And so he kind of proved me wrong when I was watching this. So I think it's a safe choice. It was my number 8, and so this is close enough. So sorry, Lisa.
So Project Christmas Wish is close enough for Meredith. And I just want you to know that when I started to write down the title on my list, I started, here's the problem, and then crossed it out. So that's stuck in my head. Lisa, what do you
Okay.
think about this movie?
Meredith is becoming my nemesis, and I feel so bad about it. We definitely could not sit and watch a movie together, I guess. Or it would just take too long to decide which movie we would watch. I'm gonna have to veto it because I have it way higher, like way higher. So I just, yeah,
Lisa came to play.
I'm sorry.
She has used her final veto. So that's it for Lisa as far as vetoes go.
It's really nothing personal, Meredith. It's just your taste.
Meredith.
It's just me.
Are there any movies left for you to play, Meredith?
I'll figure it out.
So, well, Meredith is going to figure out what she would like to send as her 4th attempt at lucky number 7. Whitney, when you were putting your list together, I think you mentioned that you watched all of the movies at the same time with one actor, right?
I actually didn't. I think that's the
You
approach most people took. I didn't watch them all at the same time, so I kind of mixed them up. But yeah, I liked Project Christmas Wish. I don't think I'd seen it before. There's a couple on this list that I kind of thought I had seen, but I don't think I'd seen this before. So I really liked it. I had it higher, but I definitely think it belongs on the list. Yeah, that's what I think. I like the little girl. She was super cute. And I like the whole premise of it. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. So I have Meredith's 4th attempt at number 7, which she has DM'd me with the headline, "You brought this upon yourselves." Jen and Lisa are dying. So buckle up, everybody. Here it comes. It's a movie from 2022. Philippa Northeast is Amelia. Brant Daughtery is Grady. It's a royal runaway romance. Boom. Princess Amelia of Bunbury wants freedom before ascending the throne. Amelia road trips across America to explore a budding romance with an artist, but ends up falling in love with her bodyguard, Grady. Meredith. Great pick for number 7. I can't imagine this getting vetoed. Tell us why you love this movie. Mostly because they're almost all out of vetoes.
Do I love it? You know, yeah, this was an off lister. So I have emotions about royal movies, negative emotions. I have rage problems with bad accents. Thankfully, the accents were not horrible. Her accent was not bad. Like you could tell she's not British, but it was okay. Um, this movie is medium. Um, there's a road trip. There's they do stuff. She's like I'm a perky young like English woman who doesn't know about camping, and so her like attitude gets a little annoying. Like I just want to be free and go drive across the country to find my boyfriend. I don't know, like, but I don't know if there is a but. You know, it is what it is. Road trips are good. The Brant is good. That's probably the best I can do at this point. What did I write in my notes? Because I know I had some thoughts. I said fake accents, grr, with an angry face. I was angry about the country name, Bunbury. I'm really doing a great job at selling this. Okay, the couple at the inn where they stopped, that was cute. That was nice. That's all I got.
Panda.
Yeah.
You like
Yeah.
road trips and royal movies.
I don't like royal movies really, but you know, sometimes when you get vetoed 4 times, you make do.
You just have to do what you have to do. I don't know if Brant takes off his shirt in this one or not, but you
Yes.
know,
He
I
did.
think
I
That's
would
the
have
only
remembered
thing-
that.
That's
Oh,
the
he
only
did?
thing I remember of that, because he was
Does he?
in the bathroom shaving or something, and she accidentally opens the door on him or something, and he's just wearing, I believe, just a towel. And yeah.
there
But
you
a
go.
shirtless man can't make a bad movie good, sadly.
Shirtless man cannot make a bad movie good. If they had named her country Cinnamon Bunbury, Meredith might have appreciated it a little bit more. But it is what it is. We have a royal runway romance at number 7. Lisa, you are out of vetoes, but I still would like to hear your thought on this movie.
Well, out of the 3, I know it's not a popular opinion, but Brant is the 3rd on my list of these actors. He's a very pretty face.
I'm
I
sorry,
don't
I'm
mind
cutting your mic. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't mind looking at him. I don't usually end up enjoying his movies all that much. Jingle All the Way is, it's an older one, and I do like that one, but I didn't rewatch this one because I knew I didn't love it. I mean, isn't this the one where he like leaves her somewhere? Like,
He leaves her in Chicago.
yeah. And it only took like a few hours for her to drive back and forth from somewhere that's really far away. Yeah, a lot of it, none of it made sense. But I have no other, nothing I can do about it now. So
Actually, there's not only is there nothing you can do about it, I have great news for you, Meredith. There's nothing Jen can do about it because Jen used her only veto as well. So take that, you guys. Take that. It's locked in. Jen, is there anything that you want to say about this as you're sending me your pick for number 6?
It was number 11 on my list. So it didn't make the list, but it wasn't like at the bottom. I just found it as kind of a silly movie. Like it wasn't really that great, but it wasn't awful. The fact that they are like I love you after like a 4-day road trip is weird. Like I don't know. It was what it was.
It was what it was. All right, so Jen's going to send me her pick for number 6. As she's doing that, listeners, I just want to remind you that the only person left with a veto in this match is Meredith, the person who has been vetoed against most in this match. So she's the one with the most influence here, actually. So Jen is going to send me her pick for number 6. Erinbeth and Whitney, she just sent it over to me. So I'm not going to ask you what you think about a royal romance, but you can certainly chime in at the end if you have thoughts on that. So Jen has sent me her pick for number 6. She's chosen a movie from 2018. It stars Autumn Reeser as Tyler, Marc Blucas as Corey. It's A Season for Love. After her divorce, Tyler returns to her hometown to spend the summer with her daughter and mother. At her daughter's urging, she signs up for the town's yearly barbecue cook-off, where she runs into her high school sweetheart, Corey. Feelings resurface as they spend time together, but she convinces herself that she has no time for distractions. She has a competition to win. Get out of my way. I'm going to take this on. So tell us why you love this movie, Jen, at number 6, A Season for Love.
So despite the fact that I watched it again for the autumn one, I watched it again for this one because I do like it. I like their chemistry. I like the whole like food cook-off kind of like storyline. The whole idea that like they used to know each other and she's gonna move back. I don't know. I think it's a good movie. I think they're good together. I mean, minus the ridiculous smoker thing. I think it's like a fun one. So I think it belongs on the list. It was number 7 on mine, so it's a similar position.
Okay, Season for Love at number 6. I'm going to skip over Lisa for now because Meredith, you're the decider here. What do you think of Season for Love at number 6? It's going to stay? You're going to veto? What do you think?
Yeah, this one isn't on my list at all. It did make me want to go to Texas in the summertime. But other than that, I'm like, it's a barbecue movie. Oh, Autumn Reeser has great hair. That's a good part of this movie, and the music. But other than that, but again, I just don't care that much about number 6, so I don't want to use my veto. So I think we can let it slide.
Meredith is going to let it slide at number 6. So while Lisa is going to send me her pick for number 5, Whitney, what do you think of Season for Love at
I
number
did
6?
not like this. It's not on my list. I don't think I like the whole cook-off trope type thing. I thought it was boring. Yeah, I'm surprised that this is number 6. I mean, it's not offensive in any way, but
But you object? Are you going to say it?
I definitely
Yeah.
object to this being on
Okay.
the list. It's
All right.
not good.
Okay, I can't sustain that objection. Sorry.
Sorry. I was hoping Meredith was going to have my back on this, especially to get people back. I mean, I probably would have done it just because of that.
I'll get people back eventually.
Good for you.
So Lisa has sent me her pick for number 5, but before she gets to it, Lisa, did you have thoughts on Season for Love at number 6, even though it's locked in?
I like that movie. I can't help it. It seems that if Marc Blucas is standing anywhere in a film, I'm gonna like it. So I've discovered that about myself with rewatching these movies, that each time I could very easily just watch him. I enjoyed it. I liked the whole him and her together. There's one scene where I just watched it yesterday. So there's one scene where they're on a street and they both go to leave, and each one like keeps turning around to look to see if the other person's looking back at them. And it's just, I just think it's cute. I had it a little bit higher, but I'm happy it's on the list.
I'm so glad that you brought up that you learned a little something about yourself as a result of being in this draft, preparing for this draft, because I get that comment all the time, and thank you cards. It's like Hallmark Movie Drafts and BetterHelp is just like 2 pods in a pod kind of a thing, right? You do come out knowing yourself and what you value most. And sometimes it's just a guy with good hair and no shirt. And
Blue eyes.
Other times it's not. So I have Lisa's pick for number 5. She has chosen a movie from 2021. Eloise Mumford plays Annie. Brant Daughtery is Matt. It's the baker's son. The island where Matt and Annie live is facing economic hardship. Of course, bread baking is going to revive that economy. When Matt meets a dancer, Nicole, Matt's passion transforms his bread from bland to brilliant. The incredible breads turn around the tourism on the island. But when his bread loses its magic, the island locals turn to Annie, Matt's childhood friend and possibly true love, for help. And guys, the only thing harder than Brant Daughtery is Brant Daughtery in an apron making bread. That's all there is I have to say about this. Tell us why you like The Baker's Son at number 5.
I think it's very silly. Like you said, the thought that a loaf of bread is going to save a town. I like Eloise. She's in one of my favorite old Hallmark movies is Christmas with Holly. And she stars in that. And I watched that more times than I care to admit. And I thought they were good together. And I think it was more of the townspeople, like the whole ensemble, that I thought was good together. The mayor was hysterical. Yeah. And then, like I said, he's not my favorite. So I was trying to put his movies in where I could. And
Ooh,
yeah.
is this sympathy drafting here? Sympathy picks?
It might be a little bit, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I did enjoy this one. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's fun. It's harmless. All right,
Yep.
Lisa's chosen The Baker's Son at number 5. Jen, I'm going to skip over you since you don't have any vetoes left. Meredith, what do you think of The Baker's Son at number 5? Keep it, throw it away.
This is great. Yeah, this was number 4 for me. I watched it for the first time for this draft, and I agree. It's zany. It's like silly in a self-aware way, which is unusual for Hallmark. Like it's trying to do the tropes of the French film. And I love the moment when they're freaking out about the bread and he just wakes up and the whole town is like standing over his bed in costume. It was very funny. And Eloise is so great. I really like her as well. Yeah, so I'm happy with this movie where it is. It was a different one. It was really enjoyable. So happy at number 5.
Meredith is happy at number 5, so The Baker's Son is locked in. Then, you guys, does anybody need a break? Should we keep going, or would you like a little break for a minute? What do you think? You good? Yeah, you're kind of ripping right through it. All right, we will keep going. So that brings us to Jen to send me her pick for number 4. And while she's doing that, Erinbeth, did you like The Baker's Son?
I was really hoping you weren't going to call on me.
Yeah, okay, so next I'm going to ask instead.
I'm like, because I did not like it, and I feel bad because everyone seemed to love it so much.
People, oh my God.
I'm with you, Erinbeth. You're in good company.
Okay, everybody's mic is getting cut. That's
I was
it.
sitting here going, call on Whitney.
I'm going, Colin, Erinbeth. I can't object to 2 movies in a row, except you can if it's this one. It is zany. I'll give you that. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
You spend more than half of the movie watching him try to fall in love with somebody else.
And then they're suddenly in love in the last 2 seconds. The introduction to the dating app and the cousins. I'm like, what is this town doing? And then that only lasts for like 1 second.
But there's bread.
And there's Brant. Jen, rescue me. Surely. What do you think of this movie?
It was my number 2.
Yes.
Was my number 2 movie. I love this movie. It's super quirky. Eloise does the quirky really well. It's silly with magic, like bread magic. I don't know. The townspeople, like the mayor all running around trying to do I enjoyed it. I watched it for the second time for this and I was like, yep, this is fun. I like this.
Did anyone else think the dad was a ghost for part of the movie?
No. but
Okay.
I can see where you would get that from. Like did he interact with other people? Let's question that for a second.
He did. But I think it isn't until the second half. I think you're right, Whitney, when they come and say, hey, what's up with the bread?
Yes,
Yeah.
he doesn't. And there's one part where he walks through a line of people and says, we'll be open soon. And nobody says anything or even acknowledges him except for the dog.
Now,
I am
Ghost
not
Baker is a
entertaining
movie I would
conspiracy
watch.
theories that he's a ghost.
It
Okay.
would be higher up on my list if he was a ghost.
That is not gonna happen here. All right, let me give a quick state of the list before I get to Jen's pick for number 4. We've got The Irresistible Blueberry Farm at 10, Mingle All the Way at 9, Good Morning Christmas at 8, finally locked in A Royal Runaway Romance at 7. At 6 is A Season for Love. At 5, The Baker's Son, which, as you've heard, everyone on the panel absolutely adores and cannot wait to watch again. And at number 4, Jen has picked a movie from 2022. Claire Bowen is Jen. Brant Daughtery is Max. It's #Christmas. Jen and her sister Allie's store is struggling when Jen gets the chance to enter a brand design contest. Jen poses as a family influencer, and when her video is selected as a finalist, their online sales skyrocket overnight. As she gets further into the competition, there's an increasing risk that Jen's online persona will be revealed. Does she continue her perfect family or reveal the truth? Jen, tell us why you like this movie at number 4, #Xmas.
I muted myself instead of unmuted myself, apparently. Technology. I didn't do this for like 2 years teaching it all. A little rusty. I think I was probably in the minority that year it came out. I really liked this one. It was one of my top movies. I think that, again, it's like super quirky. Yes, the storyline is problematic in that they're like lying about having a family and that whole thing. But I also like enjoy that whole like best friends to more than best friends trope. And I think that's why it worked for me. Like I enjoyed them together. I just thought it was fun. Yeah, I mean, like I fully admit it has problems, but I also liked it. So
Which I think is kind of the description of every Hallmark movie, right? It's got problems, but I liked it. Way to go. Okay, Meredith, what do you think? #Xmas, you were the only one left with a veto at number 4.
This is getting tricky. Because the only time I saw this movie before now was I saw the last 20 minutes sometime after it came out. And I remember being really annoyed by it. I felt like the main actress was irritating, like the clipped way she talks with her sort of social anxiety. But then I watched it for this and I still kind of felt that way about her at the end, but I felt that way because I think she's really good. Like she's good at portraying this sort of like low self-confidence person. And she had some good comedic moments. And I also agree, I like it when they're already like close friends. That's just very cute. So I surprised myself by putting this at number 1. And I'm torn because my top 3 are like, I really love them all. And I want them to be up there. But they're a little flexible. So I'm like, do I let it slide? I'm kind of
Meredith
tempted
is
to just let
thinking
it.
about that. I just
Yeah.
want the listeners to know the dropped jaw reactions, the dilated pupils of everyone when she said this was number 1, but you're not necessarily wrong there. Claire Bowen, the actress who plays Jen, she starred in she was one of the stars, and I think the series was called Nashville. She's a great singer, but that whole clipped style of talking and the whole anxiety thing, that's like her sort of shtick in
She's
Nashville.
Australian too.
And
So
she's also
doing an American
Wow.
accent, I think that's why she always sounds different because she's Australian.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I actually like the Nashville series. So, check it out if you like singing and country, Western guys, cowboys, that kind of thing. It's better than Ride, folks. I'll just put it out there, right there. Okay.
most things are.
Yes.
Most things are. So Meredith, what do you think? This is played at number 4. You do have a veto. Do you want to veto it and bump it up? Because they will not be able to stop you. Oh, well, actually, someone could override your veto. That's possible.
Yeah, I think because even for me personally, I would tell you that my number 2, I would watch more, like I would choose sooner than I would choose this one, even though I
Okay.
kind of put it at number 1. It felt like the objective thing to do. I think it's fine leaving it at 4. I'm still gonna say my veto. I'm okay with that because I agree with the reasons people don't like it. So yes.
Okay, so we have locked in hashtag Xmas at number 4. That brings us to the final 3, where Meredith is actually going to send me over her pick for number 3. But Lisa, other thoughts on hashtag Xmas at all?
It's not on my list at all. It was just kind of I loved Nashville. I watched that all the time. Was upset when it got canceled. I like her, so I was disappointed in it just because I am, and I didn't watch it again this time around because I knew it wasn't going to make my list.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. It's just, it exists.
So full disclosure, I have it at number 8 on my list. I fully figured you would veto that. Like I was like, nobody else liked it when it came out. I was like, I know I was in the minority like when it came out. So I still liked it the second time around, but it's just like I just was like, oh, nobody else is gonna like this. I'm gonna throw it out there and see if it sticks. I mean, I'm happy it's on the list because it was on mine, but I just fully did not expect you to say it was number 1. Like at all. That's why I'm like shocked.
I was kind of shocked when I put it there too.
Yeah. Like I watched it. That's the one I was trying to finish today because when the app was being ridiculous, and it kept spinning. And I was like, I just want to finish watching this so I can see if I still like enjoy it. But I just like did not expect you to say, oh no, it's my number 1.
Well, Meredith has sent me her pick for number 3. This stars Melissa Claire Egan as Audrey. Marc Blucas is Matt. It's a movie from 2019. It's Holiday for Heroes. The plot revolves around Audrey, who runs a coffee shop, and a soldier, Matt. They exchange letters for a year before Matt moves back to the US and their worlds collide. And this is actually the second Hallmark movie in which Marc Blucas played an army sergeant. The other one was Operation Christmas. So Meredith, why do you like this one at number 3?
I thought this would be my number 1 because this is one of my top movies of the last several years. I watch it every year, at least once. It's so cozy. As Lisa said, this one was filmed in Connecticut and it was filmed in January. And so it was actually snowy and cold. Yeah, this was the first Marc Blucas movie I saw, and he's just so charming. He's got that boyish smile and he's so giddy about being with people and having a sort of, traditional Christmas. And that just shines through. Also, it's got Coach Bolton from High School Musical, so that's very important. So it's just extremely cozy. It's like Christmas threw up on this movie. Audrey is very charming. It is ridiculous that somehow he used his powers to bring home the entire town for Christmas when they were supposedly desperately needed. So I don't know what he did, but I'm a big fan. I also love coffee, so my top 3 could switch around, but I need this movie to be up here. And I guess it is.
It is, because Lisa and Jen have no vetoes to stop you at all. So while Jen sends me her pick for number 2, I'll ask Lisa what you think about Holiday for Heroes.
Think my top 10. I was trying to be fair when I put it together and kind of wanted to have at least some from each of the actors. I enjoy it. I honestly, when Mark talked to me about it at Christmas Con, I don't think I had seen it. I, of course, did not tell him that, but I don't think at that point that I had watched it before. And after we talked about it, I did watch it, and it's enjoyable. I just think a lot of the Hallmark movies where there's troops involved, it's just ridiculous. The things they want you to believe that will happen. So most of those movies are not high on my list. I'll watch them and I'll probably enjoy them, and they might make me cry a little, but I'm not going to go back to them again and watch them again. I did this one just to refresh, but like I said, it didn't make my top 10.
It didn't make mine either. I'm not a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the one, Lisa, that like Hillary Burton we thought was like originally going to be in it, and then there was like some conversation because she had talked about like, oh, there was a movie film that year that was near where she lived, and then she had decided like,
yeah,
like I almost feel like if she had been in it, I might have enjoyed it more.
See, I think I would have enjoyed it less.
Oh.
So if there's one thing we're learning, it's that the three of us can never watch a movie together.
No.
But you two can.
Well, we can watch Xmas together though.
Sure.
Because
And we
even
can
if
all
it was
feel
lower on my
medium
list,
about
I
it.
still really
Yeah,
like it.
I wouldn't feel bad about falling asleep during it.
I have the ringing endorsements here. I have Jen's pick for number 2. So just to recap, we've got The Irresistible Blueberry Farm. That's a Marc Blucas movie at number 10. At 9, we have Mingle All the Way. That's a Brant movie at 9. At 8 is another Blucas movie, Good Morning Christmas. At 7, after 3 vetoes, Meredith finally locked in a Brant movie, A Royal Runaway Romance. At 6 is A Season for Love. That's Marc Blucas. At 5 is The Baker's Son with Brant. At 4 is #Xmas. That's Brant. At 3 is Holiday for Heroes. That's Blucas. It's a battle of Blucas and Brant and Blucas and Brant and Blucas and Brant. And finally, at number 2, we have Christmas Getaway, Travis Van Winkle, trying to make it onto the list. He plays Scott. Bridget Regan is Emery. It's a movie from 2017. It's Christmas Getaway. A travel writer, Emery, plans to spend Christmas alone, but finds herself double booked with a widower, Scott, his mother, and his daughter at the holiday destination. With no other rooms available, they decide to share the cabin and take on the daughter's list of Christmas traditions. Carol Rothery plays Travis's mom in this. She's a mom in so many movies. And Keith McKechnie plays Clayton in this. He's a Hallmark daddy in so many of these. So great cast. Great little trope about, oh my gosh, there's double booked and there's only one place for us to stay. But it's a super fun movie. Jen, that's why I love it. Why do you love Christmas Getaway at number 3?
Yeah, I mean, one, I do think we need to
2,
get
sorry.
Oh, 2, yeah, number 2. We do need a Travis one on there somewhere. I think that it's a fun movie. I enjoy like the fact that he's like, it's like, because I watched them in order, I watched like the babysitting one first and then went to this one and I was like, oh, Scruffy Travis, like, hello. So my notes literally say like appearance of Scruffy like Travis with the beard and the like. So I just think it's a fun one. I think like them doing the kind of starting the movie and like kind of finishing it with the almond thing is like a fun little like thing. And I don't know, I just enjoy it. I mean, is it in the grand scheme of things? I had others of his like that were maybe higher than that one, but I do think this one is a fun one that should be on there. So
Meredith, do you think this is a fun one that should be on there at number 2?
I have problems. See, I'm thinking, yeah, I don't really care for this movie. I'm not a fan. Bridget Regan is a fine actress, but I'm stuck thinking of her in the Christmas stocking movie, which is blue and depressing, and I don't like it. And so I always think of that. And she was a villain in White Collar, which was amazing, but I don't sympathize with her as a lead in a Hallmark movie. And so I was surprised because I know people love this movie, and I thought I would. And I didn't hate it, but I just don't love it. But here's the thing. If I veto this, y'all have a million veto overrides anyway. But if I veto number one, which I think I know what somebody's number one is going to be, and I disagree with it, that's going to get overrided too. So I'm stuck. I think. I'm
Well,
just
does
gonna
Lisa
save-
have? Lisa doesn't have a veto override, and I can't override my own pick.
That's
Just
true.
to be clear.
Yeah. I
It's
think I'm
true.
going
So-
to let this one slide too and save my fighting chance for number one in case it doesn't go my way.
You sure?
I'm
Because the
sure.
dynamics will change at that, because the number one will be Lisa's and Jen will have a veto override.
Mm.
So no one can override your veto here, but you can be overridden at number one because Lisa is the picker.
That's okay. I'll save it anyway.
You gonna save it? All right.
Yeah.
We have locked in Christmas Getaway at number 2. And Lisa is going to send me her pick for number 1. And as she does that, Whitney, what did you think of Christmas Getaway?
It was my number 2, so I agree. I really like this movie. I thought they had great chemistry. I like the little girl. I like the cabin mix-up trope. Like, I thought that was really fun. I thought there was a lot of Christmas in it. So I agree. I like this movie.
Great. So yeah, I love that movie a lot. So I'm happy with that at number 2. I have Lisa's pick for number 1. So again, we have The Irresistible Blueberry Farm at 10, Mingle All the Way at 9, at 8, Good Morning Christmas, at 7, A Royal Runaway Romance, at 6, Season for Love, at 5, The Baker's Son, at 4, hashtag Xmas, at 3, Holiday for Heroes, at 2, Christmas Getaway. That's Travis finally making an appearance onto this list. And at number 1, Lisa has offered up a movie from 2017. It stars Brooke Dorsey as Holly, Marc Blucas is Sam. We have talked about this before, just very briefly. We're going to talk about it again. It's Miss Christmas. And again, nicknamed Miss Christmas, Holly's the official tree finder for this Chicago tree lighting ceremony. She gets a letter from this little boy. She goes to the tree farm in this little town. Marc Blucas is there. He's the dad. I'm not going to part with this tree. And sparks fly. So Lisa, tell us now why you love Miss Christmas.
I just love everything about this movie. Like I said, Brooke, she is so good in it. She's so likable. I really enjoy anything, like I said, anything Marc does. I think their chemistry, to me, it was very believable that they were falling for each other. Now, whether that's just that look that Erinbeth was talking about earlier, of him being able to just look at someone and you think that he's madly in love with them immediately. Their whole meet cute where he was calling her city girl, and the way they just look at each other. The little boy is adorable. I saw that he's now 16, and can't imagine that he's like 16 at this point.
Is he still doing movies?
I believe he is, yes. Yeah. Again, far-fetched, that they bring at the end when they bring everything to the farm as a second tree because they've already done the one tree in Chicago. And then they bring all the decorations to the farm so that they can decorate that tree for the people in that town. It's a little, far-fetched, but I love it.
She loves it. What about you, Meredith? You can stop this at number 1, or are we going to lock it in at number 1?
I don't like making enemies. But it was vetoed 3 times when it didn't matter. So now that it does matter, I just think it's a travesty. Oh, that wasn't supposed to be a pun, but it is. I just think it's sad that "'Tis the Season to Be Merry" is nowhere on this list because it was up there for me. And I mean, I can't guarantee that she's going to pick it, but I think I got to veto Miss Christmas. It deserves to be on the list too, unlike Royal Runaway Romance, but here we are. So I'm going to veto it.
So Meredith is going to veto Miss Christmas that was played by Lisa. Jen, you're the only one who could do a veto override if you are inclined to. What do you think about Miss Christmas as number one? Are you going to veto override it so it gets locked in?
No,
And Lisa, nope.
no.
She already said she hates this
I already
movie.
said I don't like this movie. I don't know what it is. I love Brooke. I love Mark. For some reason, I just found this movie boring. Like, I did not enjoy it. I was like, I know I've seen it once before. The fact that they try to gaslight him for like to give up this tree, like your mom would want you to do this, like made me angry. Like, leave the tree. Do not cut it down. I don't care that it's gonna build houses for people. No. Like, no. So no, I'm not gonna override this. No.
Jen doesn't volunteer for Houses for Humanity or anything like that. So Lisa,
Not when you're chopping down somebody's like family heirloom tree or whatever the heck you want to call it.
the heirloom tree. So Lisa's going to send me another pick for number one. It got vetoed by Meredith. I have Lisa's replacement pick for number one. She's chosen a movie that we have actually talked about. Didn't we talk about this before? I think
Yes,
we have. We have
vetoed
talked
it.
about this. Yeah. It's from 2020. It's Travis Van Winkle as Lucas, Amanda Schull as Lucy. It's Project Christmas Wish. So this is the one that has Avery Peters in it as Max, the little girl, and all the little wishes that the character Lucy makes for the town. Okay, Lisa. So you feel good about this one for number one as your replacement?
I do.
She does.
It was my number one.
And guess what? It's the number one because no
Yes.
one can do anything
Miss
about it.
Christmas was number two, but since I knew that Jen wouldn't override it, and I knew Meredith didn't love it, I figured if I threw that out there first, it would get vetoed out and my real one would get put in.
Sneaky.
So I guess I understand this podcast a little better than I thought I did.
With a little strategery
That's
as
what I tried to
Jane
do with
would go.
Xmas.
You guys, this is a great list. Before I read it again for the final time, let's hear from Whitney, Erinbeth, and I to see how our little side hustle turned out. And then I'd love to hear what your personal lists are and any movies that didn't make it onto the list. So Whitney, how did you do in matching the final list, or what was on your top 10 list, starting at number 10 and going up to number 1?
So 10 was Miss Christmas. 9 was Good Morning Christmas. 8 was #Christmas. 7 was Mingle All the Way. 6 was A Royal Runaway Romance. 5 was Timeless Love. 4 was Project Christmas Wish. 3 was Operation Christmas. 2 was Christmas Getaway, and 1 was 'Tis the Season to Be Merry.
Great list. Great list. What about you, Erinbeth? What was your list like?
I would just like to say that for the first time ever, I've gotten 4 of my picks in the right spot. I'm terrible about that every time. I was very proud of
Awesome.
myself. We're starting with number 10, The Irresistible Blueberry Farm. 9 was Christmas Getaway. 8, Adventures in Love and Babysitting. 7, A Royal Runaway Romance. 6, Timeless Love. 5, Project Christmas Wish. 4, #Xmas. 3, Holiday for Heroes. 2, Good Morning Christmas. And I will put it in the category with Autumn Racer and the Thanksgiving Parade. 'Tis the Season to Be Merry. It is a travesty, as Meredith said, that it is not on this list.
It was on my list, but
You had
it was-
you had the number one.
I know
You
it was number 3 on my list, but I felt like I had to stick up for Project Christmas Wish.
It was
Wow.
it was also my number one.
'Tis the Season was your number one?
Yeah.
Let's see.
So here's mine. At number 10, Project Christmas Wish. At 9, Good Morning Christmas. At 8, Season for Love. At 7, Miss Christmas. At 6, The Baker's Son. At 5, The Irresistible Blueberry Farm. At 4, Christmas Getaway. At 3, 'Tis the Season to Be Merry. At 2, Mingle All the Way. And at number 1, I can't believe it's not on the list, just like 'Tis the Season to Be Merry isn't on the list. At number 1, Timeless Love. Timeless Love. I love that movie so much. So,
My
Lisa,
intention was to play that when hopefully Meredith vetoed Xmas.
really?
Just so we're clear. Because
The
it was
Timeless
like,
Love-
I was like, she's gonna veto this. Like, there's no way I'm like the only person who likes this movie. Like, it was lower on my list. Nope.
Yeah, Timeless
It's
Love
her
was
number
on
one.
my list too.
Was it?
I love
Yeah, it
Timeless Love.
was.
I've seen it
Time-
like 8 times.
I
Yeah.
had never seen it before. I really liked it. It was on my list
Yeah.
too.
It's my favorite trope. In fact, we're doing a time loop Groundhog's Day time travel draft in April. So, and I will keep the panelists a surprise, but they might be 3 guys that you know. I don't know, just saying. Anyway, so Jen, what was your top 10 list?
So mine was 10 was Mingle All the Way. 9 was Good Morning Christmas. 8 was Xmas or #Xmas. 7 was Season for Love. 6 was Christmas Getaway. 5 was Timeless Love. 4 was Blueberry Farm. 3 was Project Christmas Wish. 2 was The Baker's Son, and number 1 was 'Tis the Season.
Yeah. How about you, Lisa? What was yours?
My number 10 was Mingle All the Way. 9 was Christmas Getaway. 8 was Good Morning Christmas. 7 was Irresistible Blueberry Farm. 6 was Timeless Love. 5 was The Baker's Son. 4 was Season for Love. 3 was 'Tis the Season to Be Merry. 2 was Miss Christmas. And 1 was Project Christmas Wish.
Okay. And how about you, Meredith? What was your top 10?
Yeah, my 10 was Irresistible Blueberry Farm, 9 was Mingle All the Way, 8 was Project Christmas Wish, 7 was Miss Christmas, 6 was Joyeux Noël, 5 was Good Morning Christmas, 4 was The Baker's Son, 3 was Holiday for Heroes, 2 was 'Tis the Season to Be Merry, and then 1, to my own surprise, was Xmas.
So you guys, so once again, 'Tis the Season to Be Merry was on all 3 of your lists, but it never got played.
It's
That's
the Thanksgiving Day parade all over again.
is.
It
It's
really
like the
is.
curse of HMD.
It
It's
probably would
crazy.
have been, though, because I switched Holiday for Heroes with 'Tis the Season right before I played it, because I wanted to make sure it made it on there. And if I had said 'Tis the Season at 3, it probably would be.
Yeah.
The 2 that made it on that I didn't have were my 11 and 12. So like they had like the Runaway and then the Holiday for Heroes were like my 11 and 12. So they weren't like egregious like a Veil movie.
No, actually, in listening to your list, it's basically all of the movies that were on your list basically got played or talked about or vetoed, except for the 'Tis the Season to Be Merry one that
And
just never
Timeless
got-
Love.
and Timeless Love just never made it on there. But still, you guys, thank you so much for doing this. This was the first ever mashup. We will be doing another one. I loved hearing about your approaches to how you watch the movies when there's like different Hallstars involved and it's not just a single Hallstar. So thank you so much. Last time, for the final time, this is the singular definitive list of the 10 best Hallmark movies featuring either Travis Van Winkle, Brant Daughtery, or Marc Blucas, as drafted by Jen, Lisa, and Meredith. Here we go. At number 10, The Irresistible Blueberry Farm. That's Marc Blucas. At 9, Mingle All the Way. That's Brant Daughtery. At 8, Good Morning Christmas. That's Marc Blucas. At 7, A Royal Runaway Romance. That's Brant Daughtery. At 6, Season for Love. That's Blucas. At 5, The Baker's Son. That's Brant. At 6, #Xmas. That's Brant. At 3, Holiday for Heroes. That's Marc. At 2, Christmas Getaway. That's Travis. And at number 1, it's Project Christmas Wish, starring Marc Blucas. Great job,
No,
everybody.
starring Travis.
Oh, starring Travis. What did I say? Good Lord. You know, I almost made it through. It's that number 1. It kills me every time. All right. Anyway, great job by everyone but me. Great job, everybody. This is a great list. You can see it on the Letterboxd when the show drops. So let's all say bye. Bye.
Bye.
Eat bread.
This is season 2. Be married. Hallmark Movie Drafts is a monthly production. Stephanie Purcell creates the movie synopses using descriptions from IMDb or Hallmark.com as a base. Kate Baca vets the list of eligible movies and manages our Letterboxd account called Hallmark Drafts, where you'll find the list of eligible movies for each show, as well as the final top 10 list and the panelists who drafted them. Erinbeth Cermak creates the Where to Watch lists and the trivia round questions, and along with Stephanie and Kate, provides additional creative, research, and hosting support. I'm Lynn Austin. I'm the showrunner, producer, and host. I staff the panels, create the show topics, manage the production schedule and the HMD socials, and edit and publish the podcast. Intro and outro music is provided courtesy of Amato Zapana. Thank you to the Deck the Hallmark Double Deckers, who share their passionate opinions on these Hallmark movies that we love, or maybe not love, so much.